Hey everybody, welcome to another World of Tanks replay. This one is in the T62A and I'm on Windstorm, not Sandstorm, Jesus Christ. Wrong climate entirely. Anyway, the enemy team have quite a few decent medium players. I have a pretty good idea where they're going to go, so I'm not going to push into my usual spot near the middle of the map. I might spot it, but I'm certainly not going to push it. I don't want to get surrounded and taken apart by the enemy team's best players. Our own team has some alright players. We've got a 260 actually, and we've also got a good SU-122-44. Oh, sorry, 54. I've been up all night and I'm perhaps not the most awake right now. Anyway, my team initially sends a few heavies north. Looks like a pretty even split, not too bad. Sure enough, the STB's already pushed into the middle there. I know he's going to try and hold that position. I know he's got the gun depression to do it. I'm not going to play his game. I'm just going to go over here for now and make sure that they don't actually push out from behind that rock, and also see if I can take this little guy out, because he's going to be a problem otherwise. If you leave a bulldog with any hit points, it will eventually find a way to make your life misery. Begins firing back, looks like he's going for the 122-54, but I'm able to take him out, and here I notice that the 100's about to be in trouble. Kind of hesitate for a moment before deciding to just take the risk. Thankfully I get past the enemy mediums and go for the Wheezy 132. Not quick enough to save our Rheinmetall Borsig, but quick enough to save our E100. I managed to deal with the 132 and then scare the pattern away. Now, I figured doing this I would probably lose a hell of a lot of hit points. I actually expected the pattern to kill me, but he didn't. I did take a lot of damage though, not just from this guy, but also from behind, as his teammates began lending support from across the river. Right as I was getting worried about my last few hit points, the LTTB pays a favour forwards from the 100 and manages to rescue me from the pattern. The enemy mediums are now actually caught in a bad situation because they're fighting against us here in town, and they've also got a bunch of shit flanking them. There's still also a well-entrenched IS-3 and the LTTB making nuisances of themselves that they have to deal with. After popping a quick shot into that T-54, I began looking for a chance at this Wheezy 120. I very much wanted to get rid of him. First, I saw an opportunity at the STB, but unfortunately I just whiffed that shot, didn't quite lead him enough, and then he dived into cover and ended up getting killed anyway. Wheezy 120's got enough hit points that I could not one-shot him, but maybe two-shot him, but somebody else gets him first. In fact, it's the 260 that gets him first. We now well and truly control the enemy side of the river, although they are still pushing our side. But this is still a pretty big advantage because we have them more or less surrounded. They're not likely to come back through this way in any numbers, and they're not likely to get past the IS-7 in a hurry. Unfortunately for me, I completely failed to notice the E100 directly in front of me, and right as I'm about to take a shot at the enemy Roomba, I get popped. This wasn't a fantastic game for me, but I had a pretty decent time of things, I think, considering the kind of players the enemy had in mediums. Like I said, I didn't want to go to my usual medium spot because I knew that there'd be fierce competition for it, and there's no point going into a head-to-head battle with other players who actually know how to click red tanks if you can avoid it. The best way to win against good players is to take their shitty puppy teams down from around them and deal with them last. Depending on what tank they're in, it may be easy to do, it may be difficult to do. It's very hard to do to mediums because obviously they're very mobile. Now, if they're in an E100 or something, it's much easier. But as always, go for the weakest element first. Always try and take out the shitty puppies so that when they really need support, they have nobody left. I mean, you've seen it happen to me enough times, including in some of my more recent videos, so that's basically it. Anytime you find yourself outmatched in terms of skill, you know, you might be on a team that's basically just a sea of blood and piss, fighting blues and purples and all sorts. Go for what bad players they have. Or if you can't go for bad players, say their team is magically all good, go for the isolated ones, or the weak tanks. Just any weakness you can pick at, take that first. Don't charge headfirst into their good players and expect it to end well. It just turns into a bogged down trench match, and it's shitty, because nobody can move and nobody can get anything done. Our 260 finishes the game off by delivering the coup de grace into the enemy E100 in his own base. And so although it wasn't a very high damage game, again, a demonstration of how to handle good players in medium tanks, namely don't. Go do something else and eventually the problem will solve itself. But, you know, nearly 3k damage, not the worst outcome. I certainly was expecting a lot worse than that, and I think as well it really shows how quickly even the biggest, most heavily armoured tanks can get in trouble. That E100, if I hadn't charged in to help him, probably would have lost about half of his hit points, maybe more, because the Wheezy 132 actually has quite a large gun for a light tank, and he also had an M46 pushing on him. And then there was whatever shot me in the back while I was trying to kill the M46. So it's a good thing I got in there when I did. Unfortunately, I couldn't save the Rheinmetall, but at least I got the E100 out of it. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and as ever, I'll see you on the next one.